Good morning, my little raw doggers. How are we all doing today? So I have here with me the beautiful Trisha James. Trisha James, please introduce yourself. Give us a little background about who you are.
My name is Trisha James, aka my other alias Nadia Love, which is my porn name. I'm from Riverside, California. I've been in the adult film industry for over 7 years now.
Oh my God, 7 years?
I know.
That is a long time, girl.
Yes. It has been a minute for sure, and time's kind of flying.
Describe your look, because you're tatted up.
You know, when I was being in the industry, that definitely inspired my look.
Yeah.
And being from SoCal, I've always been inspired by the tatted back girls, like Christy Mack and those girls. And then being in the industry, I wanted to look very Pornstar. So that I wanted to the meeting of two worlds. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what inspired.
Because you have this big ass tattoo right here.
Yes.
Was that post or pre boob job?
I got it after my first boob job because I've had a few. Really? So, yes, I have. Three?
Where are all your incisions at, if you don't mind me asking?
I had them around the nips.
Just all the time?
Yeah. The first one was right under, just a little half, I don't know what you would call a little half circle.
Yeah.
And then the other ones were full because I had nipple reduction every time. And then also mini lifts every time because I wanted more of a porn star look, you know?
I'm guessing they're all ultra high profile.
These ones are ultra high. Yeah.
How many cc's did you get? If you mind me
These
asking?
ones are almost 1,300.
Oh fuck! You have to work up to that slowly.
Yeah, I did. My first ones were very small because I wanted more of a natural look, and that was the look then. And then that's when I actually, right when I had, it was probably a year after I got into the industry, and then I started to want to look like a porn star, you know. And my second ones were I think 700 or 750.
Yeah.
And then my third ones were over 1,000. So, damn. And I'm not done. I actually want to.
You still want to go bigger?
One more.
Do you have any back problems? I've heard that they give you back problems, but I've never had any.
I don't know
back
if it's from the boobies, or what it's from getting blown out. I don't know.
It's not from getting the boobies for sure.
Maybe. I mean, honestly, my back has always kind of had not crazy problems, but I think it's more my posture. Me, my brother, we always I always tell him straighten up. So I have to remind myself that too. So it's probably more my posture than my boobs. But
and your twin brother.
I have a twin. Yes,
that is insane.
Older than me by 2 minutes.
That's so cute. But I've always wondered when it comes to trans girls with twin brothers and one transition. I feel that's so fun because that's so rare.
Right.
We never see that. And I feel for the parents, it's kind of just oh my God, we wanted a son and a daughter, but now we have both and a son and a daughter. Right. So I feel that is so unique and so fun.
My mom did always want a girl, but she had all boys, and then I do have two half sisters and a stepsister. But I mean, now she has a girl with me, so
isn't that fun?
It is fun. I mean, me and my mom were very different.
Yeah.
What we our interests and things like that. She's not a girly girl.
Yeah. But I feel you're a girly girl too. Are you?
What?
Are you? Are you a girly girl?
You know what? I'm I'm a good combination of both. I'm a girly girl, and then I'm not a girly girl in ways, you know? A lot of people probably would assume I'm a bad girl. But
that's what I thought you'd be a bad bitch.
But I'm definitely, honestly, when people really get to know me, I'm a good girl.
That's so cute.
Yes.
How's your relationship with your brother?
Oh, we've been best friends since birth, you know? We're pretty close. I mean, we have our own lives. We lived together and shared a room till we were 23 years old. So, I mean, I'm 30 now. But
you don't look 30 at all. I would have never guessed you were 30. At all.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Which, it is what it is. But it's you're as old as you feel, really.
Yeah.
And I feel I don't feel 30. I remember when I was probably 18, 19, my uncle turned 30. It was his golden birthday. And me and my twin, we got him a cake. And I just remember being 30. And now I'm 30.
No, for me, that's how I feel. Because I feel 30 is kind of the age where you need to have your life together. 30 is the adult age. Like, you had your 20s, now it's like you need to have your shit together. So
right.
you don't have your shit together by 30. It's
time to grow up, mama.
Exactly. It's like 30 is such a scary age for me. But like you said, like, it's just 30.
Yeah, it's just a number, really.
Like, when I was younger, I thought 21 was like the adult age.
Yeah.
Like 21. And then when I became 21, everyone's like, you're 21? You're a baby. And I'm like, wait, what? I thought this was like the adult age.
And I always tell people when they would tell me that, they don't tell me that. Some people still do, because 30 is young to some people. But when people would be like, you're a baby, when I was in my early 20s, I'd be like, hopefully forever. Hopefully.
Just tell people that you're young.
Forever young.
That's what I do. I'll tell people that I'm like 18. That's my way of being like forever immortal.
What?
I like tell everyone that I'm like 18. Like, I'll have some guys that come over and they're like, how old are you? And I'm like, I'm 18. And they're like, oh, you're 18? And I'm like, that's my way of like just being forever like a baby. Like, I'm always going to be 18 every year.
Right.
But how was your transition? Like, how was that? And like, was your brother supportive with that?
My brother has always been supportive, to be honest. I've always been like his Barbie doll. He's a hairdresser. He's my hairdresser.
Oh, that's so cute.
I've literally, he started to do hair on me.
Yeah.
And so I literally have always been his Barbie doll. He's always been like kind of let out his creativity on me. And so he's always been supportive. He's like one of my biggest fans. He's a really, really good hairdresser, actually, you know, and I'm not because I'm biased, but he really, really is. He's so talented. And one thing about both of us is we just take whatever we do in life very, very seriously. And we do nothing half-assed. And I love that about him.
Does he ever like give you shit for like doing porn or like being in the adult industry?
Absolutely not. He does OnlyFans content himself. But no. None of my family does, honestly. All my siblings know. My mom knows. No, they don't care.
Like, how was it at first? Were they like, Trisha? Or were they kind of just like, oh, Trisha?
Yeah. Honestly, they didn't really, like my little brother and my sister-in-law, like, I remember them asking me, it was like on, I think, like Thanksgiving or something. One of the holidays, Thanksgiving or Christmas. And we were outside and we were like just talking and stuff. And my brother was like, hey, can I ask you something? And I was like, sure, what's up? And he was like, do you do porn? You know? And I was like, and my sister-in-law was like, Dylan, you know, like, why are you asking her that? And he's like, I'm just curious, you know? And I was like, yeah, you know? And he was like, oh, one of my friends watches you.
Was that awkward for you? Or was that like...
No.
Do you ever get awkward out when people are like, oh, I've seen your porn? Or like...
No, I'm just very gracious, very flattered, and you know, I just try to be like very very gracious. I've always been that way, where it's just like, oh, thank you, like, I love that. I think because people always like project whom they think I may be because of how I look, like the tattoos, they always think they're very bitchy, and so I try to kind of just be very nice, very like approachable, and very like,
oh, that's so sweet,
just gracious, you know what I mean,
really
and just and humble, and hopefully that comes off to people. I don't know.
No, it definitely, like, because when I saw you on Hooked and Looked, I was like, oh, she's so like nice, like, because most girls on Hooked and Looked, they're very just like, I want to do this, I want to do that, you know, they have like an ego and you can literally feel it through the screen, but like your energy was just like, it was so calming, it was just so like, I was like, oh my god, I feel like she'd be so fun to talk to because she just seems so normal. Yeah.
And I really liked and appreciated how they kind of showed me on that.
They did a wonderful job,
I guess. Show, I don't know if
they displayed you so wonderfully.
I was on Botched. I don't know if you know that as well.
I didn't know.
And
how was that?
I think they did a good job of kind of showing, but it was more caricature and more like very superficial, and I felt like on Hooked on the Look, like, I feel like people really got to at least just see a little bit of who I really am, which is just, I'm very laid back. I've like not all trans women, but many trans women do the surgeries and that kind of thing. So that's nothing like, you know, crazy. Like, you know, we're just regular people at the end of the day.
What were you on Botched for? Because you don't look botched at all.
Yeah, they reached out to me because they, you know, I don't know if you've seen the show, but they always do 2 stories that get surgery, and then they do 1 story that's more of like a sensational. They call it like the loud story, where it's like just a character or somebody that's just like kind of out there or like flamboyant or loud in a sense. And it kind of draws people in. And so they reached out to me on Instagram when
What do they want you to be?
They definitely wanted that, which because of the industry in porn, it is a bit of a caricature. You know what I mean? Like, it is some of me, because that is obviously like, I'm sexy and I'm like this in real life. But parts of it are not me. It is a caricature, you know? I mean, I like to be called a slut, but you know what I mean? Like, and time and place, you know what I mean? So when I'm at the grocery store, well, maybe I wouldn't. No, just kidding. Maybe you call me a slut at the grocery store. It depends on my day. But you know, so it is a bit of a character. So when I was on the show, I didn't mind that on Botched, you know, but on Hooked on the Look, it was more like, just be yourself. Because I even told the videographer, I was like, I feel like I was kind of boring.
Yeah.
And he was like, no. He's like, and I was like, I just felt like I was kind of like myself, you know? And he was like, well, yeah, he's like, that's what they want.
Yeah.
Like this is more like serious, and you can just be yourself. And my best friend is actually whom got me on Hooked on the Look. Botched reached out to me. Hooked on the Look, my best friend got me on the show because she loves the show.
Yeah.
And she was like, I want you on this show. And I was like, okay. And I'm so grateful she did, because I actually really enjoyed it. And I've enjoyed a lot of the feedback that I've gotten from people. And honestly, I got more people contacting me, messaging me, following me, subscribing to me.
It's where I found you
from Hooked on the Look.
Exactly.
Botched, it wasn't like that. Like
and that you would think would be like that, because Botched is like a bigger show.
I thought so too. Like I thought it was going to be like, and I'm telling you, like right when Hooked on the Look was posted, like DMs, like I had like 15, 20 text messages being like, I seen you on Hooked on the Look. My sister-in-law was getting texts because they had a little picture of me and my brothers. Yeah. And so her, which is my brother's her husband, people were messaging her being like, I seen Dylan and my little brother. And so I was like, whoa. Like, and I told my best friend, like, girl, I wasn't expecting like all these people. My subscriptions on OnlyFans,
that shit went flying
dramatically.
Exactly. You're like, oh, the money,
honey, you got me a new bag, honey. But no, like I really did enjoy doing the show, and I love how people like are receiving me from seeing me on the show.
I mean, it's great because I feel like Hooked on the Look, it's like on YouTube and it's on Snapchat, and that's where I feel like the biggest like platform is, because it's like right there. Right. You swipe over and like the first thing I saw was Hooked on the Look. Right. You know.
Well, and it reaches more generations, because I mean, younger people are not really tuning in to like cable TV, you know?
Exactly. And I feel like Botched is like a TV show
on social media, which is where, I mean, not only just young people, but also people that are like 30 and over are also checking on, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, they watch YouTube and Snapchat too. I don't really do Snapchat much anymore, you know? But so I think it's just reaching a different audience that like Botched is not necessarily.
Like Botched couldn't do for you.
I think they probably were reaching that audience like back in the day when that's all we had, you know. But now with social media, it's so different. Like, I don't even watch regular TV anymore. Yeah. I mean, I'm always on YouTube, or I mean, if I want to watch a show, it's like, you know, on my phone on like Apple TV or Prime. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, so no one really watches it like, you know, on cable anymore.
No one does. It's all, I feel like it's all just like either like YouTube on the TV, HDMI, or some shit like that.
And this is people's entertainment now, you know?
Or like porn. There we go. Or like OnlyFans.
Well, that's always their entertainment.
So I want to ask, I don't know if this is appropriate to ask, but having a twin brother, did you ever feel like it was like a constant reminder of like your past self there?
Oh, girl, absolutely.
Because I feel like that would be like, I would transition every time I look at my brother. I'd be like, so that's what I would look like if I stayed a guy.
You know, absolutely. I mean, he's beautiful and he's very handsome. And I mean, Jesse gets so many people like trying to get at him, guys, girls, everybody, and everything in between. But yeah, like I've definitely it's not so much when I see him, I'm like, oh, that's like, oh, like what I would like. I'm
not
like,
a burden for sure.
But I definitely, when people compare us,
that's what I mean.
That's what's killing. I've had people where and you know, I mean, maybe it's the, I don't know, insecurities or the negative voices in my head, but like I always feel like people are being a bit shady when they do it, but they'll be like, you look exactly like your brother, you know, when they see us, or
that
like,
is a little,
they see us.
I would take a little offense to that.
And I'm like, exactly? I'm like, so the thousands were a waste?
I would feel away too, yeah.
I'm like,
who would even do that's kind of like, that's fun.
Yeah, and he, you know what's funny is he kind of takes offense to it too, because you know, we have kind of both had our own transition where he's wanted, you know, we both were like these skinny little gay boys, you know, and he always wanted to be like this, you know, like more bigger, and just didn't want to be this skinny gay kid. He wanted to be buffer and just more masculine, and I obviously wanted to be the complete opposite. I wanted to be more feminine. And so when people kind of compare us, he kind of is like, so are you saying she looks like a dude, or are you saying I look like a girl? Like, which one, you know?
That's true, yeah.
And so, you know, but now we're just like, okay, whatever. And usually I give people the benefit of the doubt where I'm like, I think they're just misusing their words, where it's like exactly or just alike. I don't know if that's, you know, I'm like, okay, you know, but whatever.
I feel like I would just feel so offended if that were to like happen to me too.
Yeah, and I have a pretty like, I mean, I laugh at most of it. Like, I'm just like, oh, okay, like, whatever, Because my brother has dabbled in, like, drag a little bit. So definitely when he was doing drag, they were like, oh, my goodness, I thought this was you. And I'm like, I guess though, girl.
Like, listen, you didn't have to do it like that.
But now I'm just like, well, he does take inspiration from me for his drag look. So, okay. Which he does. And he has said before, But, well, yeah, it is what it is. We're
cute.
twins and we'll always be twins. But it's funny because some people say we look just alike and other people say we look nothing alike.
Well, I mean, the thing is with like twins, I feel like I wouldn't say like alike, but maybe like some resemblance, like some features will always still be there,
Absolutely.
But I wouldn't go away to be like, you guys look exactly alike. Because even like cis brothers and cis sisters, they kind of look alike a little bit. It's from the same DNA, And so, like, given that you guys are, like, I haven't seen your twin yet, but if it's the same one that I'm thinking about that was on Hooked on the Look that came with you, that's your twin, right?
Yeah.
Yes. The only thing I would say is, like, the lips. That's it.
Right. And people always say the eyes. Obviously, we have the same eyes. And I think it's just the tats, too. We're both tatted. I think if we weren't both tatted, it would kind of give... they wouldn't, like, necessarily be like... Because I feel like everybody always... I look exactly like anybody that's, like... blonde, white, and tatted.
Exactly.
Literally, I've heard it from everyone. They're like, "Oh my gosh, have
it's
you ever heard
look,
that you look like this person? That you look like this person?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's like every blonde, tatted white girl I look like exactly like." Or honestly, just any blonde white girl. They're like, "You look just like Britney." And I'm like, okay, all right.
You look like a Britney too.
Or Khloe Kardashian, or I've gotten like Cameron Diaz. Who else have I gotten like lots of? I've gotten any blonde white girl I've gotten.
Yeah, but I don't feel like you and your brother look like at all. Definitely, like, I would be like, oh, you guys are definitely related.
Yeah.
But, like, I wouldn't be like, you guys look exactly fucking like, oh my God.
Identical. Like I said, I feel like they're being a little shady. Like, I'm like, identical, huh?
Yeah. You're like, I look like that still. No, but I feel like, it's like every girl and every porn star has that, like, same, like, they all have that, like, sloped nose, big lip, short ratio, like, sharp chin, big cheek. So it's like,
right.
Because that's the look that I kind of like, too. Like, I love your face so much. And, like, when I go to, like, get my face done, it's literally...
Well, you're beautiful.
Thank you.
Already,
Thank
honestly,
you so much.
Girl. You haven't had any face work?
I've had my lips done and my chin done.
Oh, okay.
But, like,
girl.
I would literally be like, I want her nose. Like,
I would have thought that you did your whole face.
I get so scared of, like, breaking my nose. And, like, I want to get my nose done. I want to get a lip lift. So I love what I'm seeing.
I live for a lip lift.
Like, I love what I'm seeing right
one.
now. Yeah, like, I love, like, I would take you with me and be like, give me her face. Because, like, everything on your face, I love.
People they'll take, for the boobs, my doctor has gotten so many referrals. Or, like, my nose, I've gotten a lot of messages about people being like,
I love your fucking nose so much.
Oh,
it's so cute. Like, on the side, it's, like, beautiful. Like, like, if I get a lip lift and a nose job, I want it to look exactly like this.
I love my lip lift for sure. The doctor that did it did a great job. I wish he had did more because, but, there's some doctors, especially in Beverly Hills, they're, like, a bit more, they like to be a bit more tasteful,
Yeah.
Which I'm like, give me, like, the extreme, Which
DSL.
I told him last time, I'm like, because I wanted him to do another procedure. He, like, specializes in lifts. And I was like, I kind of wish he had did more, like, with the lip. And he's like, I did the most. And I'm like, did you though?
But then, I mean, it's like, do you feel like if they go too much, you end up just, like, not being able to close your mouth? Do you ever get scared about that?
Maybe, the only thing is I love when it was first done because it does relax a little.
Like a little fish, huh?
Yeah, it does relax a little. So that's the only, just honestly a smidge more, which I mean, you live and you learn. But honestly, I like how it is right now, really.
It's really beautiful right now. It looks really natural. Like, it just looks very like, oh, she wants to pucker up and kiss me, Your face looks beautiful. It's gorgeous. And, like, right now you look amazing.
Thank you.
I almost don't want you to touch your face because I've seen people who touch it and then they end up, like, going a little too far.
I have seen that.
But right now, like, you look perfect.
Thank you.
Don't touch your face anymore, please.
Thank you. I mean, my idea of perfect, perfect is different for everybody, or yours,
Yeah.
It's different for everybody. That's one thing with the Hooked on the Look. I've been received so well, and then there's always going to be the haters, of course.
Yeah.
But I just don't like when people, like, spin what I said or change it by a word and make it different. And that's a couple of the haters did that with some of the things that I said on Hooked on the Look. And I'm like, I kind of want to redo the show to, like, clarify to some people some things.
I'm
like,
curious, what is a baby forehead? Because that seemed like very extreme at the moment.
There's different terms for it. Not everybody calls it like I've seen a doctor from the Middle East. He called it like the Barbie forehead, and like some people call it the baby forehead, and like it's more popular in like in Asian cultures and stuff. But it's just like a little bubble. Like it makes your forehead look like a little bubble. Like you know how like babies' foreheads look like little bubbles, you know? And that's it really.
So what do they do exactly?
Well, different people do it differently. There are people who will inject into the forehead, which is very dangerous, as Yvette explained on Hooked on the Look, my injector, which, because you have like, I don't know if it's the correct word is arteries or veins or whatever on your forehead that if you inject into, it could be very, very dangerous and you could potentially go blind.
Yeah.
Because they used to inject into the forehead, like kind of with no
But then
thought,
Botox
really.
is fine though, right?
Botox is different because it's not a filler. Like if it were to inject in there, get in there, it would not do the same thing that a filler would do, if that makes sense. Because I asked Yvette the same thing. I'm like, why are we able to inject?
We're both
Botox?
being poked with the needle though. That's
right,
what I thought,
exactly.
You know?
But it's the product really. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Because and it's different. But yeah, so it's different product, I guess. Is why we're able to inject Botox in our forehead and not filler. So there are places that do it with filler. There are also places where you can do not necessarily a filler, but like a fat transfer to your forehead. But obviously, when you're doing it, when you're under, and they're doing it in a different way than injecting, right?
Yeah.
They're actually pulling like the skin forward, kind of like what they would do like when they do your forehead, like a brow bone shape and all that, and they're doing the fat and all that. So it's actually under all of those like arteries and stuff. And then they're in some Asian countries, they'll do actually like implants in the forehead.
That's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, to give them the bubble. I'm trying to think if there's any other way. So like the implant, fat transfer, and then filler are like pretty much the only ways that I know that you would do
Yeah,
it.
because when I got my nose filled on the side, she was like, okay, so we need to tell everyone this, but you know, if we poke a nerve, you might like go blind right away. And I'm like, what? She was like, we need to just tell everyone
I'm laughing
this.
about that. It's all funny.
I know, and I was sitting there, I was kind of like so fucking scared. I was like, wait, what? And like she was like, yeah, because there's like a lot of like nerves in the fucking nose. And I'm like, well, please don't. Like the thing is, they don't know like where they're poking, so like if they just happen to hit something, she was like,
well,
you
and
can just
they
like
will.
go blind.
I don't know what the correct term is. Well, when they pull back to make sure that they're not in a
vein or something,
you know,
like that.
yeah. They should be doing that. Some places won't, and that could be very dangerous, you know. So they just make sure
That's
going to
how
like
it was when I got my ass done. Like she like pumped me with silicone and she would like pull back, just to make sure she didn't like.
You got pumped. I was gonna say your body was beautiful.
Thank you. Have you gotten pumped yet? Because
No,
you have the curves too.
So she got pumped, huh?
We're gonna have to bleep that one out. But yes, it was body. So how do you get your ass? Like, cause
honestly, I've always had like a bit, like me and my brother, we've always had butts, which I do want to get my butt done.
Because your butt is. I thought you got your ass done.
People always think that. Like I've had friends that have been pumped by the same girl, and you know, they're like, "Are you sure you haven't gotten pumped?"
Yeah, I would have sworn you
I
got pumped.
swear, I was like, just me and my brother. It's just genetics. I don't know. It must be from my real dad, which he passed away. Because my mom, I don't think has much of a butt, and then my stepdad, my brothers, bless their hearts, ain't got no butt from my stepdad. But no, yeah, it's just natural. Like same with my brother. People always think he got his butt done, and we want to get our butt done, but no, neither of us have. But people always like when I would dance in LA, and they would be like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, because
sure you. Especially when I was going to the gym a lot, I was definitely like building my lower body. I mean, my legs and stuff kind of dwindled away, but I used to like my legs were thick, like my quads and all that, because I was doing like really working them out.
So if you got pumped, you would look beautiful then, because you know how some girls have like ass and legs.
Yeah,
you honestly, have thighs. I would
get back to the gym.
That would look so nice if you gotten pumped.
Like, you know? I think the Brazilian trans girls, they know where it's at. Those girls, they get pumped the house down or whatever they do, you know, like whether it be implants or pumped, you know, which most of the time it's pump. And then they hit the gym and they got like these giant quads.
And it looks so natural. It looks so beautiful.
Amazing.
You would never know it was pumped.
The Brazilians know how to sculpt the body.
Would you ever get pumped, or would you be a little scared?
Oh, I would be terrified. I honestly,
would you?
I really would, but I've always wanted to, because it's such an easy way to get body, you know, and very cheap.
That's why I did it. I was like, fuck a Brazilian butt lift.
But I have, honestly, most people don't know this about me, but I have very, like, really bad anxiety. Oh, really? And so I feel like my little anxiety-ridden self would, I think I I'm very and it's my sign as well. I'm a Virgo, so I'm a worrier, and like I would just be worried and always thinking something was wrong.
You'd be paranoid, huh?
I'm like that with my boobs. I'm always feeling them, make sure they're still there, they didn't pop or something. So I would definitely be paranoid. I mean, and I have so many friends that are pumped, and especially girls that have gone to the same girl, and their bodies look beautiful. I would just for me, I think my mental health would really suffer if I did.
No, that's how it was for me too. Because I would all my friends got pumped by the same person, and at first I was kind of just like, well, I mean, they're okay. It's been years and they're still fine. But the thing that got the reason why it took me so long to finally get pumped. It wasn't necessarily being paranoid of the product being inside me. It was kind of just the pain.
Really?
Yeah, fuck it if it's rotting inside me, oh fucking well. But I just didn't want to deal with the pain, and for the longest time I was like, I don't want to get pumped. And they're like, are you scared of the product? Or are you scared of it being in you? And I'm like, no, I'm just scared for the pain.
Oh. I'm not afraid of the pain.
I can't do pain.
But I've had some painful shit done to me. My forehead. Honestly, a lot of my surgeries that I had, when I woke up for them, I was kind of pleasantly surprised. Oh, this isn't as bad as I really thought it was gonna be. Except for the forehead. I was anticipating pain for that one, and girl, sure enough, she was exactly what I thought. I literally felt which I had a friend tell me that they're like, girl, you're gonna, because I had a setback.
Okay.
And so they cut off part of your skull. They file that piece. Yeah, your brow bone. So they cut it in this fashion. And then your sinuses are exposed. They file that piece, and then they bolt it back onto your forehead.
That's insane.
It really is. And when you see the pictures online, you're like, I cannot believe this happened to me. But that literally, I felt like when I woke up, somebody beat me in the face with a baseball bat. I had the worst headache. I just remember being to the nurse, I need pain meds, which I've never woke up out of a surgery asking for that. And she was like, we already gave you some. And I'm like, and I just remember being like, how long is it going to feel like this? Because it was very painful. But honestly, after I went to sleep that night, and then when I woke up the next day, I was like, oh, okay, I can handle this.
Yeah, that's how it was for me with my boob job, because I came in and I was like, I know what the fuck they're about to do to me. I know they're gonna cut me up.
Did you do under the muscle?
Under the muscle, yeah. Okay. I got a big incision right under here that I scar really bad. So it's this bright red scar right now. It's been 6 months, and I'm like, go the fuck away, leave. But
hit it.
Exactly. I'm like, get out of here. But when I went in there, I was kind of just I know what they're about to do to me right now. And I laid down, and I could see all these doctors above me, and I wanted to get up and be like, I can't do this. I can't. But before I could, the anesthesia knocked me out, and I was like, fuck. And
that's what I was gonna say.
I woke up and I was like, is it in me? And I'm touching my tit, and I'm gag, that's fucking inside me. Just a minute ago.
She's in me.
Yeah, I was just a minute ago, I saw them in a box, and now they're literally under my my skin stitched up.
He's in me. Catch the movie reference.
Exactly. So I was kind of just I can't. I was like, that just felt so weird, but I get so scared of surgery, but I
always tell people
so
with
much.
surgeries, just get your butt on the operating table and get them to put the IV in you, and the rest is the hard part's over, really.
Exactly. And I just there's so many surgeries that I know, but it's just what scares me is the build up to it.
The anxiety.
Oh yes,
that's the hard part for me, because I said I struggle with anxiety, and it's just or I'm challenged with anxiety. Excuse me. So for me, it's getting there. I'm always that's always me with the surgery. I'm like, girl, just get there without freaking out and panicking and backing out. Just get there, and then girl, once it's done, it's like a roller coaster.
Yeah,
get on the ride, and once you get to the top, that's when you just let go. And it's really like that with surgery. Except
and that's
you're on the operating table, and you're let go.
Yeah, they get addicted to it, because they think they're going to bed and they wake up with surgery.
And I always say a little prayer right when they're putting the IV in me. I always just say a little prayer, just.
But there's so many surgeries that I
universe,
want to get,
take care of me.
that I'm just so scared to, because of what if something happens? I overthink a lot, and I'm like, fuck.
What is your sign?
Capricorn.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Do you feel something?
No, Capricorns is a great sign.
Is it? I feel like Scorpio or Gemini would be.
Well, I mean,
are you big on? Are you big on astrology?
I'm of course.
Okay.
No, but Capricorns. Well, I don't know if it's just for my.
Tell me about me. I'm curious.
Well, I don't know a whole lot, but I do know that all of, which is funny, I didn't know this till recently. But all of my, so I have a handful of best friends or really good friends that I've been friends with for a very long time. And I was unaware of this. But one of my old roommate, Jen, which I love her to death, and like she's like was the best roommate I ever had, and we just clicked, and I lived with her for like 6 years, on and off. Like I moved in once and then moved out and then came back. Anyways, but her and I never fought. We got along. We were just like really great roommates. I love her like with all my little heart. And I found out she's a Capricorn. And then
like years later.
Yeah, right. Well, I was curious because now I've always known a lot about my sign and a couple other signs, but you know, Capricorn and some of the other signs are ones that usually people look over. And so I got curious as to like people who really like have been like very instrumental in my life. Like I was like, oh, what sign are they? I wonder. Yeah. So I asked her, and then come to find out, I told my brother like, oh, like Jen's a Capricorn, and then he was like, oh, like so is our best friend that we've been best friends with since like middle school, since 7th grade, her, and then also my old roommate Michelle, which is so crazy because all of them are like the most like down to earth, nicest, sweetest people in the world, but they're just like so chill, and I just like love, they're like just lovers, and they're just like great people, and they're just like, I don't know, they're like healers to me. I don't know. Really? But yeah, all of them. And it's just so weird. I was like, well, that's so weird that all of them are the same sign and all of them are very similar. Like they're not all like hippy dippy, because Jen definitely doesn't have that style, but the energy is that. Okay. You know what I mean? It's very like open-minded. It's very like all-inclusive. It's very, you know what I'm saying? And I love it.
So you're like, do you actually believe like astrology is like accurate? Because I'm always like, you can't like determine someone's personality off like signs.
I think so. I don't know. I mean, I think so, but there's a lot of things that factor into it. I mean, we're all raised by different people and that are other signs, right? Like my mom is a Gemini, which a lot of people are like about Geminis, but but you know, Geminis. And I kind of I feel like some of her characteristics that are like a very Gemini, I kind of took from her, you know what I'm saying? Like they say two-faced, but I mean really it's more like they're two people, right? They're like yin and yang. And I'm very much like that, you know? Not that it's two-faced or fake, it's just sometimes I'm one person, and it's not just depending on who I'm around, because I could literally sometimes be very extroverted around you, and then one day you'll be around me and I'm very like introverted, very quiet, and people will think something's wrong, and I'm like, no, it's just sometimes it's just I'm different.
I switch it up a bit.
I'm everything and nothing at all, you know. And I really am like that. Yeah. I'm very like we were saying earlier, like I'm a girly girl, and I'm like an edgy girl, or like, and I'm a good girl and I'm a bad girl, you know what I mean? And I'm all those things. I'm an extrovert and an introvert. Like I'm everything, you know.
That's so cute.
So I think it depends on that. I think it's like,
who is Trisha James then?
Girl, I'm trying to figure out that my damn self. You know, I'm a lot of things, honestly. I really am. But to the sign thing, I think that definitely factors into it, who like you were surrounded by and kind of grew up around, like those signs, you know. But I definitely believe in astrology. I just know for me, like when people would ask about me, I would be like, I'm very a Virgo. Yeah. That's my sign. I'm a Virgo. The best sign. And honestly, I mean, because so many people stan Virgos. I mean, Beyonce, I think Michael Jackson's a Virgo as well, Amy Winehouse, like iconic people. Yeah. We're very creative, which it makes sense. I mean, we're creative and we're very analytical. We're very OCD, which kind of makes up for like perfection, you know? Yeah. But anyways, I always was like, when people would ask me about myself, I would be like, just look up Virgo, and I'm like literally my sign. And people would be like, ask me, what's your moon sign? And I'd be like, I don't know, but all I know is I'm the most Virgoest Virgo ever. Yeah. And then recently, because I've gotten more into astrological signs, I was curious, so I messaged my mom. I'm like, Mom, can you find out the time?
So you need all that to find out your like other risings and stuff, right?
And yes, and come to find out, I am the most Virgoest Virgo out there, because my moon sign is Virgo as well.
That is insane. So you're like that and that, like it's all just that. That's fucking so when
insane. I found that out, I was like, then it almost made me even more of a believer, because I've literally, since I was like a teenager, been like, I am the most Virgoest Virgo I've ever met. And then so when I found out my moon sign was a Virgo, I was like,
I didn't know you can do that. I thought it was kind of like it had to be something else.
I was like kind of let down a little though, because I was kind of like,
I want to be a rising this.
I was thinking, because my best friend, which I guess we make good friends, Scorpios, which is another very strong
I thought Scorpios
sign.
are very very sexual.
Very fierce.
They're very sexual and fierce, right?
Yes, very fierce. Just, I don't know. There's some, which is funny. Like, I really truly kind of believe in like astrological signs, because there's like some YouTubers, which I won't mention their names, but when you find out their signs, you're like, oh, okay.
It all makes sense now.
Makes sense. Like, okay. But then it's like it's weird because like Scorpios is one that most people don't care for as well, kind of like Gemini. But I mean, my best friend's a Scorpio, and I mean, I guess Virgos and Scorpios make for good friends, probably because we're very opposite, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Do you think like that makes it like the friendship better when they're opposite, or like... Because I've seen people where they're
yes
like...
and no.
They're like, oh, that person's of this sign. I can't, like, meet them. I can't get along with them. And I'm like, you didn't even meet the person yet. You're going to justify it off of, like, a sign? Or, like, they'll be dating and they'll be like, oh, what sign? Oh, you're that sign? We're not compatible. And I'm like... Are you really going to let a sign, like, judge their character?
I always get to know a person a little bit and then ask their sign.
Yeah. So you don't ask it right up the, like, front. Okay, that's smart. That's really cute.
I always kind of get to know people, and then I'm like, what's your sign? You know? And then I'm like, oh, okay.
Would you ever let their sign determine if you want to pursue them or not?
No.
That's good. I like that. Because some people, they really...
I'm not a big dater, to be honest with you, though.
Really? Why?
Well, you know, for being a trans person, dating comes with a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
And then me being in the adult film industry, that comes with another set of challenges as well. So sometimes, and honestly, I think, I'm not sure you can relate, and there's lots of trans women out there that can relate, where in the beginning, you're different, you're hopeful, you believe in love, you know, those great things, and the world and people kind of jade you a bit, you know, and it changes you. And I try not to let it jade me and change me in every single way, but definitely romantically I have let it. But in other ways, honestly, not really. Like socially, I don't let it. I try not to, because in my heart and inside, I'm like just a really nice person. At least I try to be. And so I try to just continue to do that, even though people are not always so nice. Yeah. And they're always nasty. There's people out there that are pretty nasty, and I just try to focus on the nice ones. But you know, it's hard. It's hard when you're just like, you know what, I kind of get tired of people. Like I don't talk to a lot of people when I go places, which, you know, surprise.
Are you like an introvert?
I kind of, it's not that I am an extrovert. I really am. I do like people. I like people to like me. But because people have always been kind of and I'm very shy. I kind of almost have like childhood trauma too. Like, you know, I'm sure a lot of LGBT folk do, like from high school, where people were really cruel, and so I have this like trauma. So I'm kind of very shy, which is people are usually surprised about as well, like, because my look is not very shy. Yeah. But it's weird. I think it's because I'm a performer, and I started off participating in the art of drag. So I've got like used to people seeing me on a stage, right? Yeah. And performing in front of people and giving them this caricature, but not engaging with me, right? Okay. So I got used to that. So when I'm out in public, I don't mind, like, you know, like I just don't, I don't know, I get very nervous when people engage with me. I don't know why. That makes
like a lot of sense, actually. That's actually really, really funny.
Yeah.
I never thought about it that way, but yeah, I can kind of see that. Kind of just like always being watched, but never being talked to.
Exactly. You know? And so I'm kind of, when I'm out and about, I'm very like, I'm like that, you know? But, you know, people will still try to talk to me, so. And you're like, but I try to be nice. You know, I'd be nice, and, you know, but I feel like sometimes I'm like, God, why don't I talk to people? Because people will like I was going to a gym for a while. I'm very friendly with everybody that I come in contact with. You know, that's just my personality and me. But I just feel like, you know, sometimes, especially with trans girls, like, you know, you engage with people and then they like, you know, the gossip after. And so sometimes I feel like I wish I held back who I am a bit sometimes, just because I don't feel like everybody deserves it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, not everyone deserves to like get to know you, because I feel like you're really sweet, you're really amazing, and like, thank you. If they're gonna be like a shitty person, then like they don't deserve to get to know you at all. Like, right. They don't get the pleasure of knowing you.
And that's one thing I definitely like, becoming like getting older. I'm still young, but getting older than what I was is something I'm definitely kind of a place I've been where it's like, I used to really want to like have earned that seat at the table, right? Like, oh yeah, like, you know, when we're like in high school or even as adults, we're like wanting to like measure up to people and like earn a seat at their table and fit in, you know, and that kind of thing. And for a long time, that was like an object, like something I wanted. But now that, and with age, or I don't know what it is, or in my journey, it's kind of like I'm like
I don't need your approval or anything.
You couldn't sit at mine.
Yeah.
Now, and people on the internet, don't get it twisted, you know, because they did that on Hooked on the Look on some of the things I said.
Yeah.
It's not like an aesthetics thing. It's not
or
like
an ego thing.
Yes. No, it's more like we want people that sit at our table to be like all encompassing, like everybody is welcome, like an open-minded, you know, it's more than just like superficial, which most of the world is, you know. They're just like, it's all about looks and, you know, money and this and that. And in my world, in my circle, in my life, in Trisha's world, you know, it's
deeper than that.
It's much deeper. The superficial shit, love it. If it's not for you, it's not for you. And that's how it is. You know, I'm not one of those trans women that's like, you have to be here, especially when it comes to other trans women. Yeah. That's not me. Like, I'm like, if you don't want to get any surge and you don't want to do that and whatever, if you like it, I love it. You know what I mean?
That is so
But I also
cute.
can appreciate beauty in all forms. You know what I mean? We don't all need to be big titty, tatted, blonde white girls. You know what I mean? Like, I think like diversity is our strength, and I see beauty in that. And I think whatever you are, I just say that. Whatever you are, be that to the 10th degree. You know what I mean? If you're a big girl, be it to the 10th degree. Be sickening, you know what I mean? If you're like Miss Natural Fish, be her to the 10th degree. If you want to be Miss Surge Barbie doll, be that. You know what I'm saying? Like, just be it, whatever it is, and be it fiercely.
I love that so much. That's such a good mindset to have, because I feel like a lot of girls, like a lot of trans girls, they'll like, don't fuck with her because like she's clocky, like she's gonna out us, she's gonna clock us.
It's
like,
very that.
It's very that. It's kind of just like the more surgery that you have, the better you are. And like they place everything off of like surgery, kind of just like, oh, you don't have any surgery, like girl, get your surgeries. And it's not all about that, because I know some people, like that's how I used to be. Like I had friends who like had surgery and they'd be like, Elena, don't you want a boob job? Right. Elena, don't you want a nose job? And I'm like, yeah, I want those things, but I don't necessarily need them. And like I don't want to feel like I can't be with you just because like I don't have these things.
Well, and in our community, you know, we have a lot of pressure on us. Right?
A lot, 100%.
A lot of trans women have that. And so a lot of trans women are just kind of perpetuating that, the stuff that we've been conditioned, right? Yeah. We've been conditioned to assimilate, and like that we need to look a certain way to be socially acceptable outside of our community, right? Yeah. And so there's just trans women that perpetuate that, but that is not like the solution, and that's not where we need to be going in the like, you know what I mean, in our community and the world. Like we need to be like, it shouldn't be that way, you know. But it's like that for not just trans women, it's like that for women too. And there's a standard, and like it's like even when they don't meet the standard, they're still like trying to make sure like they're like upholding it still. It's really weird. Like I seen in the like a lot of people on Hooked on Look where they're like, oh, she doesn't look like Barbie, or she doesn't look like this and this, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, you don't either.
Yeah, that's like, so cares? True. Like all like the I want to be like a real life doll, and the comments are gonna just like, she doesn't even look like a Barbie.
Well, that's kind of also what got me on the show a bit as well. So my friend obviously messaged them, but she had there was like a Hooked on the Look that was like, this girl wanted to look like Barbie. And my best friend had posted my picture, and she was like, I think my best friend would like be great for this, you know, whatever. Hundreds of comments of all these people saying that, like, she doesn't look like Barbie, doesn't have tattoos, Barbie isn't this, Barbie doesn't look like a whore. And I was just like, well, little did you know, if you did your Barbie research, honey, do it. But you know what I mean? It's like, but who really cares? Yeah. You know? And I just think it's so funny where the trolls of the internet, they take some things just so seriously, and it's like, and it's just fun. It's just for sure. I know I don't really think I'm Barbie. Yeah. No, I don't think I'm a real life Disney princess. Like, no, I don't. Like, I know who I am at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like, this is real life, and none of this stuff really does matter. It's just fun. We're here for a good time, not a long time. So have fun with it. But on Hooked on the Look, they really spin on some of them comments. That's one thing I was just like, ugh. People can have their opinions about me, or think I'm not pretty, or don't think I look like this, and la 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 la. But it's so annoying when they try to make it out to be like I'm something that I'm not, like my caricature. I don't like them to come from my character, because that's one thing, my sign, you know, we kind of pride ourselves on being very humble, and I'm very that. So when they're like, oh, like she says she doesn't want to be someone else, but here she is. And I'm like, that's not what I said.
Yeah.
I said, I don't want to wish I was someone else. Meaning, like, I don't want to be like, oh, I wish I was that girl. Like, I wish I had that body, or I wish I had all those tats, and I wish, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to wish that. I'm just going to be that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's my message to people. Like, you know, you have one shot at life, you know, go big, go home, you know, and just do it. If you want to be that girl, be that girl. And the sky is the limit. Like, if you can dream it, you can be it, you know? I mean, to some degree. I mean, obviously, like, you know, you can't change everything, you know, but I'm also a big believer in what is mine, and everything is meant for a reason. So some things that you can literally not change really are like, it's meant to be that way. Like, I can never change I'm trans. You can never change your trans, right? Of course, yeah. And there was a time when I kind of like resented that or didn't care for that.
Why?
Because I wanted to be like everybody else. You know, I grew up in a town where there was no trans people that I grew up with, you know, and so I didn't have like a trans person. I could be, these are my people. I didn't have that. So I had to find my people in what was around me. Right. So I wanted to assimilate. I wanted to be like everybody else. But now that I've, you know, gotten a little older, further in my journey, like, I'm like, no, like, you know, like, this is a part of the plan, the master plan that sometimes I may not even be aware of. This is a part of destiny. And I've always said that, like, when I like have my days where I'm doubting, I'm like, girl, one day you're going to look back and you're gonna be like, this was this way for a reason. Mm-hmm.
Do you like ever regret transitioning or wish that you weren't trans?
Absolutely not.
So you like that. You love being trans.
That's further amazing. I've gotten in my transition, I've been like, it's gotten me even more and more where I'm like, yes, this was the right decision. It's validated it even more. Because the further I've gotten in transition, I just feel freer and freer. You know, I'm very happy where I'm at right now. And that's another thing with a lot of people that see me on Hooked on the Look. They think that I'm not happy right where I'm at because I've expressed that I want more surgeries. Yeah. But if someone told me today, you cannot have one more surgery, you cannot do anything else, like, I'd be happy as a clam.
You look beautiful. You
catch that reference.
You wouldn't even need any more surgery. But like, so if I said, Trisha,
and I don't feel like I need it. Honestly, none of it's
more like a want
thing,
you know. But you don't need it. You want it, but you don't need it.
Yes, exactly. You know, and it's just fun, honestly. Like, and you know, different strokes for different folks, really. You know, like, some people don't see or understand the reason for like people to go to the gym and participate in bodybuilding. They don't understand it. They don't get it. It's not for you to get, and it's not for you to understand. Some people don't understand. And that's a thing too with the haters on the internet. But honestly, they're just hating because it's nothing really. They just want to bitch and be mad about something. Yeah. But not everybody needs to be a surged Barbie doll or get surgeries. That's not my message. Yeah. I don't feel like, that's not a standard to me. Like, for me, that's what I wanted, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, but if they said I couldn't get another surgery from here on out, I'd be good.
Let's talk about porn. Because that's a big part of, like, your work. That's porn. Yes. So what was it like doing porn? Like, were you nervous at first? Like, what made you get into porn? What made you decide, I want to do porn today? Like, were you, like, nervous about, like, oh my God, I'm going to have, like, my whole body out there. Like, someone could see this. Like, what worked up to where you are now? And being comfortable doing
You know
porn?
what? And I always, like, I'm going to sound like a broken record with most things. I have my little life mantras.
Okay.
But really everything, like, I believe in destiny. I believe in, like, everything happens for a reason. And for me, it was a stepping stone. I started with little things. I used to work 3 jobs when I was little baby trans. And I like retail jobs, and I used to ride the bus, and that's another thing. People like on the internet, they're like, "Oh, it must be nice to be a rich trans person." First of all, I'm not rich. I wish I was rich. And also, but I came from humble beginnings. You know, I used to work 3 jobs. I was going to I was doing schooling for a certification program, and I rode the bus everywhere. Yeah. But anyways, I started off working at this. An adult store, like a porn store or a sex shop, whatever you want to call it.
Love those stores, like to death. I love them so much.
I do too. They're a lot of fun, and I loved working at them. To be honest,
I should work at one. I have
thought about going back because I really, maybe it's just like it's nostalgic for me, so maybe that's why. But I loved, and I like at that time especially. I've grown and like evolved, but a little bit. But I was very shy then, and And I didn't feel very desirable then either because I was new in transition. So I loved kind of living vicariously through people that would come into the store, especially like the couples.
Yeah.
I loved like helping them and just seeing the love and the exploring sexuality and having fun. It's really fun. It's, sex to me is natural and it's fun. As long as it's consensual and it's legal, like, baby, have a good time. You know what I mean? But anyway, so I started there. And I loved that job. And I just remember being like, and at that time, there wasn't like trans strip clubs or trans strip nights or whatever.
Yeah.
And I ran into an old friend that my brother actually went to beauty school with. And she was dancing. And a cisgendered girl, not a trans girl. And she was like, and I was like, and I, mind you, like I said, I had participated in the art of drag, and my drag style was very like naked and showing body, and which is very much like my trans mom, and which was my drag mom as well, which is, I don't know if you know Kylie Sonique Love.
Love Kylie Sonique.
No, she was my drag mom.
Okay.
And then, so yeah, I was participating in the art of drag, and but yeah, Morgan McMichaels from Drag Race was my drag mom, my first drag mom.
Okay.
And then through Morgan I met Kylie Sonique Love from Drag Race, because it was when they were on season 2, and then obviously we connected on the trans thing, Kylie and I, Sonique and I. So then that's when she kind of swooped me up as like, and she became my drag mom, but more so my trans mom, really.
That's so cute.
And but both of them have been like instrumental in they're a part of where I come from.
Yeah.
And I love them both for different reasons, you know. Morgan is, I don't know if you've ever met Morgan before.
Never.
Oh, she's very fierce. And she's like, I mean, when she walks into a room, she commands presence. Yeah. It's like she's, I don't know, like, do you ever watch the show, what was it, which Morgan has like done this as one of her numbers, but Tabitha Coffee, like the salon takeover?
No.
Oh, you haven't?
I haven't, no.
Well, she was very like, she's very fierce. Okay. This woman that she had this reality show, and Morgan gives very that, where it's just very like fierce, and people, it's almost scary for people. And so when and it was scary for me. Yeah. But she really like, I was like, oh my God, like I wanted to take a little, because that is one thing I kind of lacked at that time, especially because I was very shy. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I need that. And she's actually who gave me the name Nadia, because she was like, you need a bitchy name. Yeah. And she was like, Nadia, and this is how my porn name was developed. And then when Kylie Sonique Love became my drag/trans mom, that's where Love came from. So people always ask me. And I have another Kylie has another daughter, a trans girl who's also in the industry, and it's Luna Love. So
it's just like a little last name following. That's so cute.
And she's tatted too. She's so beautiful too. Oh my goodness, gorgeous. Yeah. But I was doing the drag, and then I ran into that friend that danced, and like I said, I had done drag, but it was very naked, but it wasn't like a strip club. And I was like, oh, I wish there was like a club where I could do, like a trans girl could do that, you know?
And I think it's called like Showgirls or something.
Yeah, they have a few of them now, but at that time they did not. And my friend was like, I know, I wish they did, because my friend was really cool too, you know? And she's like, I know, like that'd be so cool, because I loved it. I've always been a bit of an exhibitionist, you know? In a way. And I think it's just the performer in me. And so anyways, then that friend, like maybe a few weeks later, she hit me up and she was like, hey, I'm going to go dance at this club in Orange County.
Do you want to come with?
Do you want to come? And it was a straight strip club. And I was like, girl, what if they clock it? Like, what if they notice, you know? Yeah. And she was just like, who cares? Like, if they notice, we'll leave. Oh, well. And we went, I did it, and they didn't say anything. And
you went up and danced?
Yeah. At the straight strip club.
Were you like shy, or how was that?
No, honestly, I wasn't. I just, like I said, I think it's because I was so used to doing drag and drag shows.
Where you're being watched.
I was already conditioned to be like comfortable on the stage, you know? Now, mind you, I did get on the stage and the strip pole and do it kind of more of like a drag show. Like I was like most dancers aren't lip syncing, which it's not even the drag performer in me. It was really just like I just am like that with like music, where I can learn every single like word, every breath in that. And so I would definitely give that when I would dance at the strip club, which is very like, and one of my good friends, she would be like, girl, you're like you're like, it's like you're doing drug. And I'm like, whatever, I don't care.
You're like, it's coming out of me, I can't control it.
I really couldn't. But I honestly, I felt like it set me apart from everybody.
Oh, I would definitely, sure, yeah.
Because people were like, this girl knows, and it wasn't just one song, it was like every song I would dance to, they'd be like, this girl knows the words to every
so I feel like
song.
other girls, like, they're just dancing, but you were kind of just giving a show.
And that's the thing, is girls would be on stage dancing to their song, and I would be walking around, and I would know the words to every single song, and so it almost would just draw people to you, because it was almost like I was the one singing the song and the girl was just up there dancing to it. So it really drew people to me. And but so I started there. Then I met this couple at a trans party in Long Beach, which I mean you probably have heard of. And we became friends, and then I had told her that I'd been dancing, and she said, why didn't you tell me you dance? I know a guy who owns 2 strip clubs. And she was like, and he lives for the girls, trans girls. And so I hit him up. He told me to come in. He seemed, and this was a straight strip club as well. And this was like very close. It was like literally 5 minutes away from where I lived at the time. And he seen me. He's like, oh yeah, absolutely, you could dance here. And so I danced there for like probably over 2 years.
Okay.
And then they actually were like, if anybody ever makes a big deal about it or says anything, like, you can't dance here. And eventually it wasn't the patrons that had an issue. It was some of the girls, where I started to make a lot of money, and they were kind of little haters. And so they kind of were telling some of the patrons like, oh, she used to me a man. And
hate those
and
girls.
So then they let me go because of that. Which I think is unfortunate. I think eventually we'll get to the place where I think strip club, they are inclusive now more so than they ever have been, but not with trans women, which I think eventually we'll get there. I think there will be like big girls, skinny girls, black girls, white girls, trans girls, all in one club, and it should be that way. We're just another flavor, you know what I mean? And if it's not your flavor, it's not everyone's preference, So
you never, like, there could be some guys in the crowd who are totally for it, and some guys who just aren't. And it's not even being homophobic. It's kind of just like, it's just not their cup of tea.
Exactly. Like, we all have our type, and and whether people want to get offended by that or not, because if you're not included in that type, I'm never offended by that.
Yeah,
when
because I know some
like,
girls
I'm not into
like,
trans girls, I'm like, oh, I respect that.
Yeah, like some girls will be like, I'm a girl, but I'm a girl, but I'm a girl. And I'm just like, I know you are.
Right.
But like, he's just not into what
that
you
kind
have.
of girl.
That kind of girl, yeah. So like, you can't be upset. You can't call him homophobic. It's just not his thing. That's it.
And people, and it's more about them than it is about the person who's expressing their type. When they get offended, it's more about them.
Yeah.
And that's what I've noticed with people when they're like, no, how dare you? And it's like, I think it's just more about their insecurities and them not feeling good enough, and like they measure up. Because when people tell me that I'm not their type, I'm not offended. I'm like, I'm not everybody's cup of tea.
I understand it.
Not everybody wants big titty blonde girls. Some people like, skinny, skinny Asian girls, or curvy Latin girls, or everybody's got their flavor.
Has their own type.
And there's somebody for everybody. And I'm not for everyone. And not everyone's for me, and that's okay. But anyway, so eventually we'll get there in society where trans women are included at the strip clubs. Which they're starting to do that. Like, I mean, even a lot of porn companies are starting to do that, where they're like, oh, there's coins in this.
Of course. 'Cause I feel like what you said in the whole episode, we're kind of like dream girls.
And that's another thing people kind of took it, they took in a way, I don't know, people were like, dream girls for who? I'm like, first of all, bitch, I had a screen grab my daily subscriptions on OnlyFans, which was hundreds and hundreds, that I had screen grabbed at that particular day. And I was like, dream girl apparently for hundreds of guys. But I'm just like, I didn't mean we're the dream girls. I said we're dream girls, which is like, which everybody's a dream girl to somebody. And that's just what my point was we're not these girls that no one's fucking with. I'm not saying everyone's fucking with, but there's a lot.
There's a lot. You'd be surprised how many guys are actually into fucking trans girls.
Girl, we know the real tea. And whether women or other people want to acknowledge that, baby, I'm telling you. But go ahead, deny us, because we're going to continue to
Make the money,
get the
exactly.
coins, mama. And it really is setting it up that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yes, they're hindering us when it comes to like socially or like romantically. But when it comes to business, or at least my business or other girls who participate in sex work, trans women, it really helps us.
It helps a lot because it's different. It's unique. Because the thing is, you can get pussy anywhere, but you really have to go out of your way to find a trans girl.
Well, and because men have experienced the social stigma that comes with associating with trans women, they will not approach us at bars where they normally would approach cisgendered women and buy them a drink and take them home and do, or whatever, or engage with them in some sense.
Yeah.
They won't do that with trans women. So they're given no other way but to engage with us online, which now trans women have gotten smart and we're like, you can engage with them online. And we're like,
we're going to profit from this too. Exactly.
Baby, I'm not your secret girl. I'll be your secret girl with the coins.
Yeah. Exactly.
Give me the coins, baby. Which they pay it.
Yeah.
And women who think that men don't fuck with trans women. Girl,
They do.
how do you think I buy the bags, the shoes, the this, get all the surgeries?
Yeah.
I don't have a regular job. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's baffling to me that people think that guys don't fuck with trans women. I'm like, oh, Lordy, all right. Go ahead.
Like,
and I always tell
those
people,
guys are literally paying for your lifestyle.
they really are, And I mean, I just got to give the haters and the people who perpetuate the bullcrap like pats on the back because they really have made it to where I live very comfortably. Thank you, I appreciate it. But anyways, it's really interesting, all of it, to be honest, but. It is what it is. But one day we'll be included in, like I said, at strip clubs and all that other stuff. So I started dancing there.
Our time will come.
Yeah. So I was dancing there. They let me go. And like I said earlier, and I'll probably say it a million times after this, like everything happens for a reason. And so they let me go. And then that's when I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't have
because around this time, OnlyFans wasn't a thing, huh?
No, not really.
Yeah.
No, it literally, like this was like, I would say like a year or so, maybe right before it started like starting up, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, what am I gonna do, And so that's when I went and applied to be in porn. And I had always wanted to try it. It's not something I was like forced into, like I didn't want to. I just never really attempted, and I wasn't sure how to get into the industry, which most people don't know. Yeah. Which I always tell people when they ask me, just apply. It's like a regular job. You just go on I don't know if it's the same like that now, but back in the day, when you'd go say if you wanted to apply to work at Target, you go down to the bottom and say careers, and you click on it and then you apply.
Yeah.
It was the same difference. I went onto a porn site, I went to the bottom, it said apply to be a model, I clicked and I applied, and they called me the next day and I started. And so that's
was
where
there a casting couch moment like how it always is?
No, they just they said we'd love to work with you. I showed up, I did my first shoot, and honestly, like I said, I've been a bit of an exhibitionist and I was dancing, so I was already very comfortable, and that's one thing that
used to just being watched. Yes.
And I always kind of say this, like, I have no issue. Like, I'm very comfortable with people watching me and me entertaining them in that way. And no, obviously in porn, I do engage with people, obviously, when I have seen partners.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it just was very natural to me. And it was very liberating. I remember, I won't mention who took me to my first shoot, but I remember talking to them after and them being like, dude, that's really rad. Like, you just literally was you kind of just let it all out.
You became like a different person almost.
Well, more so just, they meant so in the sense of like exposing myself, where there was like, you had to really have like balls, which
you really do.
I don't have big ones. But to really just like, and that's how it felt for me.
Yeah.
And I wasn't flawless or perfect. I still am not. But at that time, I wasn't my idea of perfection, but it was very and I'm not still, but I'm closer to that now. But it was very liberating. It was very freeing. It was very like, I don't know. It's weird because most people think that in sex work you lose yourself, or you it makes you feel less about yourself. But for me, it really empowered me. It really made me feel like free, because it was also somewhere where I was celebrated. Yeah. Like, I wasn't being, and I was so used to people liking me that necessarily didn't notice that I was trans, in that way. But then when someone was like obviously in trans porn, which is the genre I'm in, they were like, no, we like you because you're trans. And it really just was like, oh, there's people that like me. Like, because up until that point, I had really spent like trying to be like everybody else and trying to get away from my transness. And so then I like literally joined like this career that like it like was based on my transness, you know? And so it was very empowering, and I loved it. But it's not for everybody. Yeah. I always tell people that if being if any job doesn't bring you happiness, whether it be working at a bank, working at a retail store, working in the porn industry, if it is not your thing and you don't love it, like find something you do love, you know, because it's not for everybody. There are people who, it's like modeling. You really do have to have like a tough skin. And it's not because it's not because people in the industry have been in any sense negative toward me or critiqued me about my looks or my appearance. Yeah. It's not that. But you will not get casted or booked for every gig. And that can wear on some people. And that make their little, like the negative voices in their head start talking. Yeah. You know? And for me, but because I've always believed that what's mine will be mine, and there is a destiny that has been planned out for me. If I don't get booked for a gig, I'm like, it wasn't for me. Yeah. That's the universe has a bigger plan for me.
Positive way to look at it, you know? Kind of just like not like really dwelling on yourself and be like, oh, was it not good enough? Just like, no, it just wasn't for me.
Honestly, when people learn to live and accept some things, you know, like the happier you will be, you know? And when I started to like accept my transness, I became happier, you know? Yeah. You start to get on the path, your real path of destiny, where when you start to accept all these things that were literally meant for you. Yeah. That were made, it was meant to happen this way. And you have to, and you may not know it now. And I always tell myself when I start to doubt myself, like, girl, one day you're going to realize that this was for a reason, you know? And this happened this way for a reason, you know? And yeah, so when I got into the porn industry, I loved it. It's a fun job for me. It's not, like I said, not for everybody, but for me, it's a fun job. I have a good time. I feel like I get paid to do what most human beings do for free.
Exactly.
If you're about your mental health and your physical health,
how is your mental health will doing porn? Like, do you feel like that? Like, because I know, like, being in the adult, for me, sometimes I'll just be like, fuck, like, this is kind of just, like, exhausting. Like, it just feels like a transaction every time. It just feels like nothing's ever real.
Are you in sex work?
Oh, of course, yeah. Okay, so I do OnlyFans, so I have, like, a bunch of, sex tapes on there. Yeah. But I'm not, like, on, like, Pornhub, you know? I'm not, like, contracted into, like, porn, and it's just kind of just, like, I'm just independent. Yeah. But, like, a few of my videos did get leaked. Oh, that kind of made me feel like a way. I was like, fuck, like, now that's really
But that's okay, though. Yeah, it may not be okay if you wanted to keep it more private, but it's probably got you more subscribers.
It's to be expected, though. Yeah, like, I had, like, it's on OnlyFans. It's on a secure website. Anyone can just go on and screen record. You know, so I guess I was you go on OnlyFans, you gotta expect, like, okay, your videos might get leaked. But I guess when it actually did get leaked, I was like, fuck, why do I feel so violated? I feel so like, I'm like, it's just out in the open now, just floating on the internet. And I'm kind of just like, fuck.
So it's made you, so being in the, we'll say in the adult film industry, because you are.
No, I tell people I'm a porn star, basically. Yeah. I have, like, there's videos of me taking dick on camera. Yeah. No matter what, I'm going to call that porn. So you think
it's like, it's freed you, or it's made you more confident, or do you think what has it done? I'm all asking you the question.
No, I love that. What
do you feel like it's done for you?
I feel like it's made me more of, like, a bitch. I have, like, a bigger ego now, because I'm kind of just like when guys want to fuck me, I'm kind of just like, can we film it? Because I want to make a buck off of this. And when they're like, I don't want to, and I'm like, so I'm just gonna fuck you for free.
That's a business.
Because even though I'm not charging these men, like, filming with them is gonna make me money when I post it on my OnlyFans, you know? Right. And so I feel like when they don't want to, like, film, kind of just like, so I'm just gonna, like, what am I gonna get out of this? Like, your dick in my ass? Like, that's I can get that from, like, a guy who actually wants to be on film. Right. And, like, to me, a dick up my ass feels like a dick up my ass. You know? And, like, sometimes I'll be like, oh, but I'm hot. And I'm like,
I'm a bomb.
I'm like, the big ass dildo over there.
I'm like, bomb.
But I'm kind of just like, I feel like for me, it makes me feel more free, you know? And kind of just like, when I put everything out, and that's what inspired this podcast for sure, because, like, Elena raw and bareback, it's just raw. It's unfiltered. It's just no condom. There's no protection. It's just what you see is what you get.
On the podcast.
Exactly.
In real life, we're sluts, but we're safe sluts.
Exactly.
I always tell people, get your rocks off where you can get them. but be safe about it.
Yeah.
And if shit happens, I always tell people this, and I'm glad I mentioned this, but if shit happens to everybody.
Yeah.
You know, I'm all about kind of destigmatizing like STDs, especially HIV. You know, I think it's important that it really can happen to anybody, and it's, you know, it's just something that happens, you know.
Yeah.
And it's I try to kind of destigmatize those things, but anyways, you know, still be safe about it, you know. But
Because people have
have
this like idea that like all sex workers are full of STDs,
right,
which I feel like is not the case, because they're in the adult industry, they got to get tested so often and so frequently.
And that's what I tell guys, like, especially like guys that I have interacted with, that like, you know, like dating, or I mean, I don't do much dating, but you know, hookups or whatever the sense, right? Is that this is my job, you know, and so I have a lot to lose, you know, if something like that were to happen, you know. And so it's like a nurse, you know what I mean? Like, their job is to, yes, do the duties that nurses do, but also do it in a way that's, you know, like sanitary, and they have like precautions that they take, you know, to protect themselves. And sex workers have the same thing, you know. We're like entertainers, but we're also like sexual wellness like experts as well, right? Where it's really about like your health as well, you know. And so I think I would say people outside of the industry are more STD ridden than we are. But like I said, I don't shame people or stigmatize people based on those things. Shit happens to everybody. It should not be something we judge people about, you know. And you know, it really it's just is what it is.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, I'm very safe, and I definitely promote safety and safe sex.
100%. Yeah. So what's the best condoms to use? Because I use skin.
I use bearskin.
Okay.
Yeah, they're Trojan? Yes, they're Trojan. I believe that they're different. So bearskin is from Trojan. They also have ultra thin, which are different. People always think they're the same. Not.
And there's like lambskin too, right?
Yeah, for people who have allergies.
Okay.
To latex. But yeah, I prefer the bearskin ones. They're just the thinnest, and they don't have like because some condoms will have like spermicidal lubricant, you know, like on them, or spermicide, whatever, and we don't really need that because we can't get prego, not yet. Not yet, science.
Yeah.
Which I would not be having children because I can't stand most of them.
I know. For me, I kind of just want to adopt a kid when they're like already in like their teenage years.
I hate children.
You're like,
catch that movie reference. No, the only kids I really know, I do like kids. I have nieces and I love them, but
you're like, to have my own, I can't.
Honestly, I'm a busy bee. I work a lot, so it's just, their kids are a lot of work. It's a real job. I have so much respect for moms, you know, and like I said, I'm challenged with anxiety, so I would just be so like a worry wart with kids. Like I would be the parent with the kids on the leash.
Oh my god, I would. Yeah, because I have this fear of like a kid running away from me. Having them on that leash with the backpack, I would just feel so much safer.
I babysat my nieces, and I have had like little heart attacks with them.
Because they're fast. 1 minute they're here, the next minute they're there, and it's
my nieces are the most cutest things in the whole world, though.
Oh,
They're and they're brats too, but they're princesses.
Just spoil them.
I do.
Yeah, just do that.
I do. They think, they call me Aunt Patty. But they think I'm rich. They're like, she's rich because I'm always I buy them. I love them.
You're the fun aunt.
I really am. My mom always tells, which I love that because I had that aunt too. My Aunt Anna, she was like my extravagant aunt. She was like blonde and she wore like leopard print. And me and my brother used to call her Cruella de Vil, not because we loved Cruella. Cruella de Vil's fierce.
She was like everything.
Honey, yes, I wanted to be the villain. Am I the villain? But no, but she was like my favorite, you know, and she was just so I'm that for them. Like, this is their gaudy and their extra and they love it, and I'm their favorite. And you know, especially like my oldest niece, and she tells her sister, she's like, I'm Aunt Patty's favorite.
Yeah, I feel like I'd rather do
she
that.
is, but I don't tell them.
Like, I'd rather be like the fun aunt rather than just like the mom.
Yes, and I have godkids. Well, so one of my best friends, my brother is the godfather, and then she has another best friend from when she lived in Orange County, and that's the godmom, and I'm their fairy godmother.
See, and
which
that's
I'm
just
like,
so fun. It's just like, I'll just have that title.
That's the best
like,
one.
To have kids of my own, that's a lot, because I'm kind of just like, fuck, that's like a lot of work. But I'd rather just be the one that's like, oh, I make an appearance once in a while in your kid's life.
Yes.
You know, spoil them, drop a gift, and, you know, poof, be on my way. And that's that, you know. But I want to ask, what is the most craziest, like, sex scene, or like, awkwardest film, too? Because I know
my craziest
porn,
what?
Sometimes it gets awkward doing porn. What's the most awkwardest scene you filmed? Like, has there been one where you're kind of just like, this is fucking awkward? Like the storyline.
I get okay. I have a couple stories. I'm a talker, y'all. So most of the time when I'm with another performer, I'm very easygoing and I get along with most people.
Yeah.
So most of the time it's not really awkward when I perform with other performers.
Yeah.
It's usually a fun time, to be honest with you. Now in the beginning when I started in the industry, it was not when I was shooting with another performer. It was when I was shooting with just a photographer / videographer, just him and I. It was a solo shoot.
Okay.
And it was just awkward. He just wasn't a big talker. He was very quiet. So it was awkward because of that. It wasn't inappropriate or anything. It was just awkward because it was very quiet. And I kind of feed a little bit off of like I said, I'm a bit of an exhibitionist and an entertainer, and I love to turn people on, guys, girls, everything in between. I love it. I don't know. It feeds me. It feeds my energy. And so when photographers or videographers or other performers give me that, I love it. I feed off of it. Some performers do not. They don't like when other performers are like, like touchy or like flirty or whatever. They don't like that. They like it very like professional. Me, I like it a bit more laid back. And I like to know that like whomever I'm working with is like, they're like, this is hot. You know what I mean? Like, I like that. So it makes me feel more comfortable. So it was only awkward for that because he was just very quiet. And I was like, is this good? Is this not good?
Well, I mean, I guess for like a solo shoot, I guess maybe he didn't want to talk too much because it was all about you.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. That could be the reason.
I'm just used to photographers and videographers who are like, yes, yeah. And even if they're not necessarily saying something, they're like, this is good.
Okay,
You know, like they're giving that. And he wasn't really giving that. But he's just a very shy person from what I've gathered, Future, which I've never worked with him ever since, to be honest. And then as far as a scene that was awkward because of the storyline.
Yes.
I have definitely had
Tell
that.
me about that one. Because I've seen porns and I'm just kind of like, that looks so awkward to film. And I'm like,
I've seen some. I have a friend of mine who's in another performer, and I talked to her about it when I first met her, and I said I watched, because I knew she was going to be there, and so I wanted to like do a little research, right? And so I watched a scene of hers, and it was... they had just said something, the videographer behind the camera, like, and she responded, but it was like the most awkwardest question. I won't mention who it was, but they were like, she was doing this little voice, which, you know, when I do it, like, you know, I always tell people that's another thing, Hooked on the Look fans that were clocking it, they're like, I love how her voice went from this to that, and I'm like, she has many voices.
And many, many accents, too.
Catch that quote.
Yeah.
Catch that movie quote. She has many voices. But I really do. And my best friend, there's nobody out there who laughs and kikis about trans women more than trans women are damn selves. At least some of us. Some of us are very, like, not. But we definitely, like, can poke fun at ourselves and we, like, laugh at ourselves. But she calls, like, one of my voices my Minnie Mouse voice. And then,
oh, my God. I know those voices. Yeah.
Phone calls, drive-thrus.
Those voices just come out.
The when waitresses or waiters come up to us, it's my Minnie Mouse voice.
I want to hear it. Let me hear the Minnie Mouse voice.
I can't really do it like on camera. You got it earlier. We're like, your voice.
Okay, I'm a waiter.
I'm like Paris Hilton, where you know how she has like
many voices.
Yeah,
yes.
where she's like, this is my real voice, and then she has like other ones where she's like, hi.
But your voice in general just sounds so good. Even you just talking relaxing, it sounds beautiful. I would have sworn you got your voice done.
You know what? A lot of people in the comments were very saying that was a lot of the comments I was seeing were like her voice, and then somebody had mentioned like they have a surgery, and I'm like, that's the one surgery I have not had. But
I swore you had that because it just sounds like if I just close my eye and hear you talk, I'd be like, oh my God, her voice sounds powerful. Aww. She sounds like a boss woman.
Well, thank you.
I love that kind of voice. I hate women with high
growing up. People
voice.
terrorize me because of it.
No, it's beautiful.
They'd be like, you sound like a girl, or like when we would have substitute teachers, and they would do roll call.
Oh my God,
and they would be like call out my name, and I'd be like here, and then they would be
Everyone
like,
just, like,
they would
looked?
think that it was some girl trying to cover for her little boyfriend, and then they would be like, and then all the kids would laugh because they knew it was like me, but
the substitute didn't.
But exactly, and girl, the gag was real when I was in school. I was terrorized.
Yeah,
but now I'm just like.
No, but your voice sounds
works
beautiful.
out at the end, doesn't it?
Like, I would love to have your voice. I would love it so much.
Well, your voice is beautiful too.
I feel like my voice, like, I feel the thing, like, gives away is, like, the voice. And for a minute, I was going to consider getting my voice done because they were like, my friend was telling me, she was like,
but you have a very pretty voice.
Thank you.
But you know what? Here's the thing. I mean, stereotypically, you have a very pretty voice, you know, where, like, ideally, we're going to put that in quotes. But I've heard trans women that are very clocky. I don't know. I appreciate beauty in so many forms. So I've seen some of the most sickening girls that have, like, clocky voices, but I don't know what it is. I'm an energy person, so it's just, to me, it's like it just seems beautiful to me.
Yeah,
you know, and like especially some of the Middle Eastern girls. Like me and my best friend always talk about this, where we're like, oh, she sounds like clocky, but I don't know why I kind of like it. And I'm like, I don't. It
adds character. I feel
so it
makes them unique.
It really does, you know, and you know, but you have a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
You really do. But yeah, no, that's the one surgery I have not had. But they were like, comment that in the comments. They were like, I love how her voice, like, they were like 1 second was this and the next, and I was like, clock it, kiki about it. I don't give a fuck. I laugh
with, like, voice is kind of like, my friend told me, she was like, a guy can see, like, you can have all the pump, you can have a pussy, you can have all the surge, but if your voice is clocky, they can see right through all that and know right away. So I feel like the voice is like what gives it away the most.
Yeah.
So, like,
I'm definitely one of those girls. There's always that girl, you know, especially when you have like a little group of friends, like trans friends, and you go out, there's always the one girl where, like, when people come up to talk, they're like, go talk, say something. Like, you're the voice for the group.
Yeah.
I was always the voice. And there's a couple girls that'll be like, I've heard you were the voice for your group. And she's like, but, you know, just be yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
your voice is beautiful. I love it so much. Thank you.
But now they have the surgery for the voice, which I think is so cool. I don't think I would be able to do the surgery.
Why?
Well, because you can't talk.
Oh, that's
I don't know if you guys know
I mean, you don't really need it.
But she's a talker. I feel like I feel like it would be just my luck. Like,
and you know what's amazing about that
luck,
too?
But
It's like, I feel like what gives it away is like that your trance is like when people don't talk a lot. Because if I go to a party,
like they feel like they're hiding something.
Yes, and I'm just sitting there, like, not talking. The guys will be like, why isn't she talking while all these cis girls are running their fucking mouth?
Right.
And that's because I'm thinking my voice is clocky, so I'm not going to talk at all. But then I feel like that gives it away too.
You know what? That's like, it's funny because usually when I'm out, like, at bars, I don't know what it is about bars, but that's usually kind of, when I walk into a room, I always kind of, and people are looking at me, I always kind of try to, like, not necessarily say something to them, but say something aloud. I don't know why, because I just feel like it kind of, in a sense, does that. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh. Or if they were wondering, they're like, wait a sec. Because I had these guys that they were looking at me and my best friend, who is also trans, and they were like, is she? And so I just started talking. They were like, but the voice. And then I was like, they have surgery for that. But I've also done that with, like, the Adam's apple thing, too. When I've seen people, like, kind of gossiping about us in public. And they'll be like, she doesn't have an Adam's apple. Which I never had one. So.
Never had one either.
Yeah.
There we go. We're the same.
Same with my brother. Like, he doesn't have one. But when I see people gossiping in public about that, they'll be like, she's like the Adam's apple, though. Yeah. And I'll just be like, they have surgery for that, darling. But I didn't have that surgery. So, and that's another comment I seen. They're like, you know, they said, like, that she didn't include her Adam's apple surgery. I'm like, because I didn't have it. Yeah. I'm sorry.
You're very fish. I love that.
Not always. I mean, I don't know how much research you did, but girl, she wasn't always Miss Fish. I don't really consider myself one of those girls, to be quite honest. Yeah. Like, whenever people are like, I didn't know you're trans, I'm like, you did? I really, it's the humble bitch in me where I just am like, I don't feel like I feel like I'm that bitch, but in my way. I don't feel like I'm like other people, like, you know, stereotypically that bitch. You know, I feel like I just serve me, you know? Yeah. But yeah, so in the porn thing, though, the scenario that was awkward.
Yes, tell me.
They had me doing, I don't want to give too much about whom it was or, like, what DVD it was for. But if people will probably, if you're, like, a fan of mine and you watch you probably will know about the story, like, based on the storyline. But anyways, it was like I was engaging with a male talent where it was, they just made this scenario like a little too real life, where it was like, it was a guy. It was supposed to be this guy, and his friends didn't know that he was talking to me, and we were dating, right? And I wanted him to bring me around his friends, and he was like very like, I just not yet. And I was like, one of the lines was even like, "You're embarrassed by me."
Yeah.
About my trans.
That's very realistic, yeah.
Too real and too deep. And it made...
Like, it's porn. It shouldn't be
I literally wanted to almost, like, be in tears on that set. Oh. And I don't even really think that the producers realized
intended to be that way?
No, I definitely don't think so. I love these guys that I work with. I love them. And I was just like, this is trans women's real life, And... that is one thing. Like, I am very much an acceptance of a lot of things and my journey and the challenges that I face being a trans person. But the dating and the romantic and the love life, that's something still hard for me to like accept. I think it's hard for a lot of trans women to accept. And it doesn't affect me in a sense where I know I'm good enough. I know I measure up, and I feel like I feel beautiful, and I feel like, like I said in Hooked on the Look, like, I feel like we are dream girls, But yeah, so it doesn't affect me in that sense, but it still is shitty. Like, it sucks that there's people, like, there's still the stigma around dating and associating with trans women, and that sucks because I feel like we have, like, I mean, I don't know. I think we possess all the qualities that someone would like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, like, fearless, we set goals, we accomplish them. I mean, there's so much things that trans women overcome and accomplish. And I mean, I say this all the time, like, we create diamonds out of coal, we really do. And that's attractive. And that's
but then at the end of the day, they won't, like, it's just, I feel like it's the dick. It's just not what they're into.
There are those guys. I don't think it's like that for everyone, because there's so many men. I think my personal belief, I believe that human beings, I would say 99% of us are, when it comes to sexuality, we're pansexual or whatever, sexually fluid or whatever term you want to use. I truly believe that. I think, like, in our society or in the world, we have conditioned people to believe that they are one or the other.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that's true. I think human beings, we are animals, and sexuality is very fluid and it isn't very rigid, but we have made it that, And so I don't think it's necessarily the dick. And I mean, and I think the guys that do have the issue with the dick, I think that it is because of societal conditioning.
100%.
But I think the other guy, that's a very small percentage, honestly, the guys who have the issue with the dick. Most people don't have an issue, honestly.
They love it.
But I think it really is the stigma, And I think that it's been created by the world we live in, but it's been perpetuated by, I think, men and women, but I think a lot of women honestly perpetuate this stuff.
Yeah.
I think that women have been conditioned to think that their self-worth and their validity is contingent with the male attraction and getting a man and being married and that kind of thing. And trans women threaten that in a sense.
Yeah.
And so, and I think women also have been conditioned to believe that we're all like every man for themselves, and when she's winning, I'm losing, and that is not the case, And so I think because of that conditioning, it creates this animosity and this tension and this divide, and especially with trans women and cisgender women, where they're like, I cannot be team you. Like, you're taking a fucking cookie out my mouth, bitch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I always tell people that it's a little saying, but it's the wider the base, the higher the point of freedom. Mm-hmm. So the more we all win, the more of us that win, the more we win even more. You know what I'm saying? It kind of adds to the pot, to the lottery pot in a sense, right? But most people, especially in our country, like in the United States, like they don't think that way. It's like very like when they're winning, I'm losing, and
it's
that's
very black and white.
It is, and especially in our community, in the LGBT, it's been perpetuated like that, and it's because we have not gotten so much, you know, like, you know, we don't, especially trans women, there's a lot of things we don't get in life that cisgendered women get, you know? And so because we miss out on a lot, the things we do get, like, we're like fighting over little scraps, you know, or whatever the case may be. But really, there's so much to go around, but there's people out there, you know, it's trauma. It's trauma that they're healing from, where they feel like they're not getting, or, you know, they're losing or whatever. And it's like, girl, and I always tell people, I don't know why it is. You would think energy would work that way, where it's like the more you're reaching and grabbing and trying to, you would get it, right? But it's really not. It's like, I always tell people, and I learned all this when I danced. It's weird. I learned a lot about energy when I danced, but when I would go into the club and I would kind of like have this attitude, like, what's mine is mine. Yeah. What the coin that's mine tonight is going to be mine. Yeah. I would make all the coins. Yeah. You know? And when I went in there, like, needing to pay rent or whatever I was doing, you know, needed money for, girl,
you wouldn't
crickets.
make a single cent. Yeah.
Crickets, mom. And it was also like that with my, how I felt about myself too. That's why I always tell people, being a 10 is an attitude, really. And I didn't have titties and butt really then, or I didn't have any face surgeries. I wasn't like, you know, this polished penny or anything like that. I'm still not, for the haters.
I think you are.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But I didn't have all that. But when I would go into the building, and I had this, and I felt cute, I felt sexy, I felt like nobody could sell me nothing, bitch, clock all the coins. And these cis girls, you know, they knew the tea, so they're sitting there like, this trans bitch is out here. I wasn't slanging pussy, but, you know, I mean, I was selling the fantasy. But I didn't really have it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So
they were gagging. I had a friend that's been friends with me since I was a teenager that I would dance with. And she would just be like, I was sitting up there talking to the DJ, like, how is she doing this? And I was kind of a bit offended by that when she said that to me, because I was like, what the hell do you mean? How do I do it, bitch? Like, I'm sickening. You know what I mean? But but it was like, you know what I mean? But I think that really was, they're just looking at this. But a lot of women, they're really gagged when they see like men live for trans girls. And it's like this like unknowing thing, you know, where they're just like, guys, like, what kind of guy, like, they really, and I'm like, bitch, the Chanel bags, the Louis, the this, like, girl, they're getting it to me. They're paying for the apartment, they're paying for it all. But, you know, it's like, and it's not because, yes, I'm sure it's to do with the looks, you know, but it's really the attitude. It's really the fearless. I think that's attractive to people. I think trans women, I always tell people this, because guys are always like, I don't know what it is about trans girls. Like, you know, I'm sure you've heard this one. Yeah. They're like, I don't know what it is about trans girls, and I'm like, it's because trans women go out of their way to be women, which is very attractive to men. I
always tell people this, like, we go out of our way to be extra feminine, to put in the extra work, because we were stripped from that growing up. And so, like, now that we have the chance, we're going to make the most of that. And most women, they were born with that privilege.
I tell people,
and so they take advantage of that. They don't take advantage of that. They kind of just like, they just
they slack off a little.
They, you know, they wear mascara for makeup and call it a day.
I always tell people, trans girls, every day is Valentine's Day for trans girls. So, you know, cisgender girls, they get dressed up for their man on Valentine's Day. You know, they do their makeup, the hair, the nails, the this and that. They wear the sexy lingerie. Trans women do that every single day.
And guys,
not all trans women, you know,
they
there are
love
some
the
trans
fantasy.
women.
So when they're being delivered it to every day, it's like, how could you not like that?
Yeah, and it's really the attitude too. I know people are very attracted to people that are just they're unapologetically themselves. Like, that's attractive. Yeah. You know, whether someone is stereotypically beautiful or not, when someone owns who they are and delivers that, that's sexy.
It's beautiful.
And it's beautiful. It really is. It's like, wow. That's what draws me to people. You know, it's not when you're like size 2, this blonde hair, big, you know, you don't have to look how I look, you know what I mean? But when you're just like yourself unapologetically and you live for it and you love it, like, I'm like,
I feel like when you start to love yourself, people start to love you. You know, and like, because a lot of people they want to please others.
And when you love yourself, you start to love others.
And like, it just all comes to loving yourself, and people don't get that. They just want to make everyone else happy.
Honey,
like, that's the worst way to live by.
Beauty comes from the inside and shows on the out. It comes from Catch within, that quote.
For sure. Could talk to you all day.
I know.
It was just so like therapeutic, I feel.
Yeah, you know what? And I love talking about all this stuff too.
Yeah, and I feel like because like like you said, hooked on the look, they made you like, you didn't like that sometimes because like they did like twist a lot of things too. So I was able to like
just the viewers.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're able to come on here and clarify.
Not all of the viewers.
Meant. Yeah, but like for the most part,
honestly, very few.
Yeah, for the most part, they made you look really good.
Yeah, honestly, that was really what I've gotten from like majority of people who have reached out to me and messaged me. That was like literally like what they got from it. They were like, you are very pretty, and they were like, but very real, down to earth, cool girl. And I was like, oh, that's what I wanted people to see.
And I think the one top comment was, this is the most tamed hooked on the look episode ever. And I was like, oh my God, like they're right. Like you were just you felt very normal. You looked like good. You didn't look like completely surged, being like, I need to get more, you know, like you looked beautiful. And personality was so humble. It just felt so warming that like, I watched it and it just felt like another documentary. It didn't feel like an addiction or anything, you know? So I feel like they portrayed it really well.
At least I didn't feel like it came off as very forced. It seemed very like kind of, you know, and they really seen my like real life, you know, me hanging out with my best friend and my brother. Like that is literally like my life. And then going like Yvette, my injector, she's like, I love her. I love them. Like they've just become friends of mine. So they really did get to see kind of a day in my life, you know, which is just like, and you know, people take all the surgeries and the fillers, all that. They take it so seriously, but it's just silliness.
I think it's your face, not theirs.
Yeah,
like, it's not even bothering them. I don't know.
It's just
why.
Fun.
Yeah,
it's not, and it may not be fun for you. You know, just like probably people like out there like getting tattooed is not fun. You know, I do it. It's not meant for you. You know, but that's the only thing. Just the little comments that I was like, oh, they're kind of like some people are kind of spinning what I said in a different way that I was not. It was not meant. Only in kind of meaning in a way that was not inclusive, and I'm like, no, like that's not what I meant. Like or meaning like especially that comment where they're like, oh, she says she doesn't want to be somebody else, but I'm like, that's not what and that's another thing I wish they had included on the show, because I did say this, was I know people look at trans women or someone like myself that's had, you know, like surgeries and they're like we're trying to be someone we're not. But what they don't realize is this is me. Yeah. You know what I mean? And this is you. And that's what I want to express to other people too. Like when they're like, life is not going about it and just like accepting everything that you don't care about yourself and being like, well, this is really me. Like, you know, I'm overweight or I'm a stick thin girl. Like, this is me. I need to accept it and love it. Like, no, don't hate yourself. But I mean, if that doesn't feel like you, then find what is you. Yeah. You know what I mean? And be that, you know? And that's what people don't understand. Like being big titty, like surgery, little doll, tatted, scribbled on, as someone said, scribbled on Barbie doll. Like that is me, you know? As hard as that is for people to believe, you know? So that was my message. And I wish they had included that in the show, was whoever you are and whatever your vision for yourself is, like be that. And it doesn't have to look like me. It doesn't have to look like you, you know? And that is beautiful, you know? Yeah.
Before we go, is there anything you want to plug? Promote anything?
Well, OnlyFans, Instagram, everything.
Link them all down below. What do you have on your, like, what do you have before the subscribe? What can you give us? What do you have on there? Is it like those like teasers bullshit, or kind of just like, do you have everything on there?
Oh, I have everything. Okay. So my OnlyFans is not like it's not a trick. It's not a gig. It's not like you subscribe and they're little teasers and then you have to pay for more.
I hate that so much. No. Mine's not like that at all.
They're the full videos. I have probably about 600 videos.
Oh, me
sucking, fucking, taking giant toys, taking hands, taking this, you know, doing it all. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I post very, very often, almost either every day or every other day. And yeah, I'm always posting content. I love that. That's funny though. That's what people always say. Like they're like, because they've subscribed to some people and they'll be like, it was like nothing, and then they were like charging more for other things. And
I hate that so much, because they're always like, people always tell me, Elena, don't do that, sell it in the messages. But I'm kind of just thinking like, you need to understand that whenever you have a new subscriber, they're not getting that message you just sent out, right? So now you have to send it out again.
I have done that. Like it's not necessarily like I'll post the full video, but like I did used to do that for like the cum shots. I would send it out the message if they wanted to see it. But then I would eventually upload it, because for me, I mean, I know it's all a money-making gig, but for me, I truly get excited about my content. That's that's why I post so much on OnlyFans, because I'll make content and I like cannot wait to share it.
No,
like I'm like, this shit's filthy and dirty, and I can't wait for them to see it.
Yes,
you know what I mean? And because I love watching it, so I'm like, oh, they're gonna love this. So sometimes, I mean, there was days like, especially like recently, because we've had a lot of downtime, you know, because of COVID. Like I was like, I would film stuff and then I would like post like 3 videos in a day because I was just like so excited to show them. I'm like that with pictures though online. Like I did that shoot yesterday, and I'm like want to post them all today.
No, that's how I am, because it's kind of I feel like we're not looking at it, it's kind of just like, I look at it, I'm kind of just like, this is like art.
Yeah.
Like, this is beautiful. I want to display it already. I want I like took a video of me sucking dick and I posted it right away, and I started going on Instagram and I was like, please watch this. It's so beautiful. Like, you understand? I
post my videos like in real time. Like it's like, this wasn't like, most of my videos aren't videos that I did like 2 weeks ago or whatever. Like I literally sucked homeboy's dick today and posted it today.
That's how I am.
So too. You get a daily update of the whorish things Big Titty Trish / Naughty is doing.
It's kind of just like, you're being paid to do what you love, and I love the adult work so much.
Some people are not naturally sexual.
Yeah,
I naturally am very sexual and like to be sexy.
I'm a very sexually active person, so I'm always just about like sex. I'm always just and now that you get like to make money from it, I'm like,
I think it's healthy.
Love that. Of course.
I think it's healthy. I mean, people who are like or have a sexual appetite, it's been proven that their mental health is
much happier. I
love
it
very well.
I love it so much. I just fucking
release the endorphins, honey.
Yeah, I just hate when like people sexualize me for that though. Oh, you do porn, you must want to fuck all the time, and I'm like, yeah, I do, but I just don't. It doesn't mean I just want to fuck you right now.
Right.
You know?
Well, it's like exactly. I think it's because it's the nature of the beast where we're like starting to. I mean, we make a living at it, so it's kind of like I'm like, why am I gonna? Like, I am a slut at heart. Don't get anybody wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I didn't do this for my job, bitch, trust and believe, she'd be fucking every day.
Yeah.
But now that it's my job, like when guys are like, oh, you know what I mean? But it's also about consent. It's like, it's consensual and it's like, it's on my terms.
Yes.
That's the thing. My, like, this caricature that I am in porn, I do have like a dominant, role sometimes, but most of the time I generally like feel comfortable being submissive. But even though I'm being submissive, like there still is like a part of that I'm in control. Yeah. Like I say like when I'm gonna be the slut for you and suck your cock and bent over, bitch.
But yeah, I totally understand.
I say,
that. Yeah.
But I love it. I love being that.
Be.
You know what I mean? Like it's, you know, it's like any like woman in the world that's, you know, like submissive to men. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, like I recognize, you know what I mean? Like there's this like dynamics between men and women, you know what I mean? But I want to be the one that's choosing it. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be forced on me, you know what I mean? So yeah, like I don't want you being like, oh, like you're, especially, I mean, they don't just do this with just girls that are in porn, but they do this with trans women too, where they're like, oh, you're trans, you know, you must be like a little, and it's like, Lord, like, how dare you? I mean, well, if the shoe, I guess if the stripper heel fits, I'll wear it, but that just, but also I was saying earlier, like I'm everything and nothing at all. So yes, I'm a slut, but I'm also, you know, she's a good girl. She just wants to be respected. She's a shy good girl you can take home to meet mom.
And you know how to behave in front of mother, you know?
I really do. I think that's what most people are like always very surprised by what they meet me. Like I'm just very like I carry myself a certain way, and I'm just like, yeah, it's just they're like, oh, I wasn't, or they assume I'm like a party girl.
Do that.
And I'm not. I'm actually straight edge.
You don't drink?
I don't drink, smoke, do nothing, you guys.
Same. That's
really?
That's just for decor, but if you look, they're all empty.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't finish them.
I don't have it for decor because my mom, if she came over and seen it, she'd be like, Trisha, what's going on?
What is this? What
yeah, but yeah, I'm straight edge. People are always surprised like that by that because they always think I'm like a party girl, but I'm actually not.
So you don't drink when you go to the bars?
Nope, I drink soda water with 2 limes.
I just drink a Coke.
Or Diet Coke. I'm addicted to Diet Coke. But usually when I go to bars, I don't know why I always drink, because it's always kind of risky when you drink like sodas from bars, because it's like some of them are bad, you know? So I always get the soda water with 2 limes because it's refreshing and it's, you never can go wrong with it.
Yeah.
But no alcohol, no weed, nothing.
So do you disclose to guys that you're trans like right away, or is that something you're like?
I always assume they know. I
Well,
apologize.
don't assume, because I wouldn't even have known.
I've had guys where they're like, I didn't know, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Which I totally do. Actually, I absolutely, I do online. I absolutely disclose that, like on Instagram. It wasn't always that way, but now it's becoming where I'm open across the board on all my platforms, because people are starting to see videos of me where I'm talking about this stuff. So I'm just like, fuck it. Like, I don't care anymore. Like, and whatever. Like, and like I said, I've evolved into where I don't feel ashamed of it now. You know what I mean? But if definitely when people hit me up, I'm like, oh, like, the tea, right? And they're like, the tea, tea girl, honey. And they're like, oh, sometimes they're like, yeah, I know. Or most of the time they're like, yeah, I know. But sometimes
what about like at the bar? Let's say you meet a guy and you guys like things are going great. How would you bring that up to them?
I mean, I usually like I said, I assume they know, but sometimes they don't. So I always double check. I'm like, the tea, right? And they're like, the tea? And, that's literally what I say to them. I'm like, the tea, right? And they're like, the tea? And I'm like, the tea, girl.
Do you ever just kind of like pussy stunt, kind of just like, see how long I can get away with this? Or no?
When
so, like, live a little fantasy of being
when I danced at the straight strip club, I definitely did the pussy stunt shit. But a couple times I'm like, girl, you was really... Okay, girl, that was a choice. That was not a smart one, Trisha. But no, not really any. Like, I mean, if I'm just talking to people at a bar or whatever, or if I'm walking by, like, no, I don't need to tell them, or I don't need to make sure that it's apparent to them. But if someone's like wanting to hook up with me, or
then that's when it's like,
or if they ask for my number or something. Honestly, me and my best friend, we have a way. We have business cards. We don't even, because you know how it is for the girls. These guys want to talk to us, but because of how everybody is, they won't talk to us in front. So girl, get you some business cards, girl, and you just literally hand them the card, and they will call you. They will call you.
Why is that so funny to me?
Yes, because you know what it does too? It makes it to where, like, all the guys that you want, but they're not going to talk to you in front of everybody else, like, like all the daddies and all that. Like, girl, like, you just literally, like, where no one's watching, throw them your card. Girl, they will.
What is the card? What is the card? Because now,
my card has my Instagram handle and my phone number, not my real phone number. It has an app number.
Okay,
but that's usually what it has.
Does it have like a photo of you?
Oh yeah,
I want to see this business card because oh my god, that is so
right now.
Yes, that is so
right now.
That is so fucking smart. Like,
let me. Hopefully, I have some
because I've always thought about that.
She gives them out often. Honestly, it really. I do. Like, I'll go somewhere. Like, I moved into this new apartment recently, and the guys at 7-Eleven were all trying to get at me, and so I threw them one of my cards or whatever. And girl, they all end up calling me. They all am giving me the coins now too.
That is so funny.
Don't play with me, people. Okay, I think
I
may have given all my cards away. I literally had I might have given my last one yesterday. I was meeting up with my best friend. I only have hundreds in here. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
But no, I was meeting up with my best friend, and this guy was like, I was walking across the street from my apartments to this restaurant to meet my best friend, and this guy was like pulled over. I was like, I want to talk to you, and I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, I'm on my way to go do something. He's like, no, I really do. And I gave him my card, and he was like, when can I call you?
Does the card say that you're TS on there or no?
No.
Okay.
But it's honestly, the card is very one of those Vegas cards. Like, I'm like sprawled out in some lingerie. Like, it's very that. It's giving them it's letting them know that you're not seeing me for free.
That is so cute. I love that. Oh my god. But you guys, that was this episode of Elena Raw and Bareback with Trisha James. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Thank you, Trisha, for coming on and just like...
Thank you for having me. I had so much fun.
I did too. It was like such a therapeutic conversation and like I enjoyed every single minute of it.
When I go to LA, like to a dentist appointment or something like that, I always have to stop and shop. So I probably will stop.
We can even shop for a bit if you want to. Do you want to go shopping for a bit?
Honey, sure.
If you're in like no rush to get back.
I'm not in a rush.
Okay, then we can totally go to South Coast.
I'm like, I'm not in a rush.
So fucking down.
At least for lunch. Or they have like...
everything's open here in Orange County.
Honey. Orange County, they'll fuck you real
We're gonna fucking eat. What do you want? What are you in the mood for?
What
do you need to eat? What do you need to eat? But you guys, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you guys for coming and just listening. I'll leave all her links in the description box down below if you guys want to check her out. Such a sweet, humble girl. Such a sweet, humble girl. I love it so much. Thank you. I try to be. You guys, give this a big thumbs up.
So beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. But yes, we're trying to like close this out. We're kind of just like we're getting distracted. I love it.
The what?
We're like trying to close this out. We're kind of getting distracted. Kind of just like one thing after another.
They're like, shut up, people. Shut up.
This is it. Elena Rombear back. Thank you guys so much. And anything else you want to say, Trisha?
Is there anything I want to say? Everybody who has become a fan, I love you. And everybody who doesn't like me, I love you too.
And that's that. Bye, guys.